Welcome to Capital Ideas, featuring guests from organizations in Raleigh and the surrounding area that are doing great things to uplift residents, support businesses, and impact the local economy. Hi, I'm Brenda Wilkerson, Communications Manager here at Capital Area Workforce Development Board. And on today's episode, we're going to talk about another capital idea that we've had here. So while our mission has always been to connect people to good paying jobs in high growth industries, we realize that not everybody wants to work for company ABC. There are people who have ideas that they want to turn into businesses. So how are we going to help with that? Well, here today to talk about it are Tyler Daniel, and he is our new business services manager specializing in small businesses, and also Barbara Brothers, our awesome business engagement director. So, bringing these two on, welcome to the podcast, guys.
Hi,
Glad
Brenda.
to be here.
So,
Thanks for
Barbara,
having us.
oh, thank you. I'm gonna start with Barbara. And
Okay.
entrepreneurship is a really, really hot topic today, especially like in the world of economic development. So, can you talk a little bit about why do you think that is? What's going on with that?
That's a great question, Brenda, because there is a lot of activity happening in economic development at all levels of companies. And, one of the pieces that I think a lot of people don't realize is that micro and small businesses actually are a key driver in job creation for any given region. And when we look at the triangle, with all the great economic development and growth happening, there's also a lot of small business creation happening as well. And as a result, as they grow, they may only add 1, 2, 3 people at a time, but they're adding jobs and creating new jobs, which is great for the economy.
Yeah. And also, so Tyler is with us now. And again, he's our new small business manager. And Tyler has a background in entrepreneurship. So, Tyler, tell the listeners more about your experience and why you're the man for the job.
Well, my experience with entrepreneurship actually started doing nonprofit work. I worked for a camp for kids with critical disabilities and illnesses, and did some of the back office work doing grant writing, and saw how limiting nonprofit work can be just based off of how much funding you happen to get that year. So businesses or nonprofits are really kind of reliant on those grants. And then when I went to UNC Chapel Hill, I studied entrepreneurship and learned about the idea of social entrepreneurship, which is how you can have a societal good or improvement that you're trying to make at the heart of your business while still having a sustainable business model. So you're still able to make money while doing good in the community. So that was something that really caught my attention and really kind of shaped how I went about entrepreneurship. So I've started a business in the past, worked at different startups, different co-working spaces, all in the Raleigh and Durham community. Had a really interesting time when in 2013 there was only 1 or 2 co-working spaces in the area, which are kind of hubs for entrepreneurial growth. And I was able to work in that space and see Raleigh's entrepreneurial community kind of thrive and become what it is today. So it just kind of inspired me to keep going with entrepreneurship.
Well, we are thrilled that you're on board here, and so clearly all of that experience, it's kind of shaped your approach to entrepreneurship and what we're doing here, right? So, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think entrepreneurship is just really inspiring to me because you're able to start off with not necessarily a lot of money, just hard work, having the right resources, the right connections, and the right idea can be something that creates a sustainable living income for you and your family. And I think finding a business that can also improve your community as well as your own family is something that's really exciting and what I'm
And
looking to
very
help with.
special. Yeah. Um, So tell us more about the program you are developing for Capital Area. Like, can you provide a high level kind of overview of it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, what we're looking to do is create an end-to-end model for entrepreneurship. So, right now, Capital Area provides services for businesses that are looking to hire and for people that are looking to get hired. And one area that we feel can really help round out Capital Area's services is to provide entrepreneurial support. So, if you come in saying either I'm interested in entrepreneurship or I think I have an idea, I help to take you through the process of going from ideation, where you use some design thinking and brainstorming activities to refine this kind of bigger idea down into a more narrow view. And then we go into a planning stage where we actually go through and make a business plan, not your traditional 20-page business plan, but something that's still comprehensive and can be used if you want a small business loan later. But really make sure that you understand what you're getting into and you understand all the kind of complications that can come with a business. The next step is going in, registering your business, doing all the kind of small things to get your business started, setting up bookkeeping systems, paying taxes, permits, all the sorts of minutia. And at that point, you've launched your business. And so now you're looking to grow, find customers, reach out to professional development communities, and really kind of get to a point of financial sustainability, which is our final stage along the process. And that's generally, it's going to be different for every business, but once they get to a point where they're making a profit every month and able to live off of that wage, that's where we're looking to get businesses.
Wow. And so who's ideal for this? What kind of clients are you maybe looking to serve?
Yeah, we're looking to work with a lot of the same clients that come into the NCWorks Center, and the existing businesses that are interested in Capital Area's services. We're focusing with this program specifically on women, minorities, individuals with disabilities, veterans, and any sort of under-resourced population that's maybe looking to start up a business with low barrier to entry, low cost to entry. Businesses like landscaping, roofing, any sort of company that can be started with a couple of tools or perhaps through services.
We were joking not too long ago. It's like we aren't necessarily looking for the individual who graduated from MIT and they're trying to start a tech company. That's not the exact client for us, right? They probably have
Yeah.
resources to get them going.
Yeah, those channels are already created. There's a pipeline that goes directly from these colleges into the large cities that really helps them to build out their businesses. So we're really looking to work with people that either don't have access to those resources or don't have the connections to get into those sort of areas.
And Brenda, I think that's such a key point about broadening the access and the support. So to Tyler's point, it's making it available to everyone and also helping them connect to those resources, because we've talked to plenty of people who have tried to call the whole list and they end up just frustrated. And so this will give people that are interested in entrepreneurship the right support at the right time for where they're at and their exploration of this as a career.
And Tyler mentioned earlier, you mentioned something about design thinking, I think during phase one, your ideation phase, right?
Yeah.
What is that exactly? Go into a little more detail about design thinking.
Yeah, so design thinking is there's a bunch of different design thinking activities, but they're all kind of focused around using empathy and kind of creativity to challenge assumptions, kind of a different way to brainstorm, but focuses on what the customer needs. So, for example, there's something called journey mapping, where you go through the entire process of a potential client has a problem, and you start with that problem and then go through the entire process of them searching for answers, trying to connect with businesses, your actual business route where you meet them for the first time, discuss and go through the completion of them getting their service, and really focusing on what the customer client is feeling and how you can kind of ease that whole process and make it easier for them.
And even you talked about even when they get to the point where they have to register their business.
Yeah.
What does that entail? Because did you say earlier, I think when we were talking about this, that's where you tend to, a lot of people drop the ball or they walk away from the process. So can you talk a little bit about how you'll support that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there are a bunch of different obstacles that comes when you're trying to start up a business that can kind of slow your momentum. And so part of this program is us helping entrepreneurs along that process to provide them connections and resources along the way so that they're not kind of slowed down every time. These are things that can take maybe 30 minutes to fill out, but it's something that can take you all day to research to make sure that you're doing it right. And then you're still not sure if you've done it. But for registering your business, first you decide what sort of business structure you want to have, whether it's an LLC, an S Corp, a C Corp, sole proprietorship. And each of those have different kind of tax implications and business requirements for registration. But let's, for example, say you decide to go with an LLC, which is one of the most common businesses. Then you'll go through the Secretary of State website to make sure that the name's available and meets all the requirements to be registerable. And if it is, then you register your business with the Secretary of State. Then look at taxes. So you get an employee identification number from the IRS. And then the third kind of major step is to get local business permits. Unfortunately, there's not just one business license in North Carolina anymore. So you have to look into kind of the counties and cities that you're going to be working in to figure that out.
Oh, wow. That's good that you'll be able to help people with that. That sounds intimidating. Just sitting here listening.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem is that people have this idea that they're really passionate about, and they say, I want to start up this business. I want to do it. I have experience in it. I have maybe some money set aside to do it. And then they get hit with all of these different roadblocks along the way. And by the time they get to this point, they're not sure that they even want to start the business anymore. Mm-hmm. Don't know if it's even worth doing, and can really kind of lose that motivation.
Yeah, it takes work. It sounds like it takes work. Are there any ways that you might want to expand the program?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, our funding has us focused specifically just in Wake County, but there is the hope that we'll also be able to expand out into Johnston, Chatham, and Lee County in the future with more funding. And then also we've talked about having mini grants along the way. So right now we're in talks about $500 at 3 different points in the business to kind of help people transition through the different stages so that they're still putting money in to start up their business, but we're helping them reduce that barrier to entry. So looking at doing $500 when they've completed their business plan, and that'll go into money that can help them when they're registering for their business. They're getting websites, getting QuickBooks for bookkeeping. And then the next one is $500 when they've registered their business. That money can go towards looking to maybe purchase some equipment that can be covered in a small amount, or any sort of those early startup costs. And then the final $500 would be once they've gotten their first client and they're really looking to expand out, and that can go to marketing resources or website promotions and advertisements, and really looking to help them grow their business.
And those are grants, not loans, right? So they don't. They don't have to. So, is anybody else? I have never. There's a lot of business support in the Raleigh area. There's tons out there. Is anybody else doing that, helping with the financial boost like that? That sounds like kind of a unique proposition to me.
Yeah, not in that specific way. Where we first saw it was in a program in Canada. But specifically in the area, there are grants that can be applied for, but they're more on a one-off basis. So it's a bit different.
But this, and Brenda,
along the way. Yeah. The other place that micro businesses or solopreneurs a lot of times find that initial funding is, they go through a pitch competition or some venue like that. And this would actually help a broader scale of people rather than just maybe the top 5 winners or the top 3.
So the program's going to be available when? And can you talk about, are there any costs to participate?
Oh, well, no to the cost. But yes, the program is starting in June of 2022. And so we're looking to get the ball rolling pretty soon. And there's no cost on our side for you to attend the program. Any of the workshops, any of the events that we do is going to be free to the public.
Mm-hmm. And so how long does it take to get through all the phases you reckon, the 5 steps that you talked about? How long on average do you think it'll take folks to get through?
It's going to be different for every business, just depending on what you're trying to do, where you are in that process. Some people we're expecting are just going to come to us and say, I'm interested in learning more about entrepreneurship. And for someone like that, maybe we have to do a lot more work on the front end of getting them to figure out where their industry experience is, where they could potentially start a business, versus someone that says, I've been a landscaper for 20 years. I'd like to start my own landscaping company. With them, they're going to know more about what's going into the business. So it's really it's a case by case kind of figure. But once they've registered their business, that time between when they've launched and when they've reached sustainability is generally between 1 to 2 years.
Okay. And so also in workforce development, of course, no workforce development organization does anything like all by themselves and on their own. So I assume there are some partners involved in this project. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So part of this program is that we're not trying to recreate the wheel. We know that there are a ton of resources that are already out there. We're just trying to broaden the access to those resources. So we're trying to connect people with experts that are already focused in these areas. So for example, EDP&C, or Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina, works a lot with getting businesses registered. So if we have a large number of businesses that are looking to get registered, we can send them to EDP&C to help them through that process. Likewise, we have partners with the NCWorks Career Center, Innovate Raleigh, SPTDC, which is the Small Business and Technology Development Center. And then also we've been in talks with a couple of CDFIs, which are Community Development Financial Institutions, which is kind of like a nonprofit, but also a bank. Mm-hmm. So it helps to provide small business loans, generally between as low as $500 up to $10,000, $15,000. So right in kind of our target area for the small business loans to start up those kind of lower cost to entry businesses.
And Brenda, I think another great point about this is, we are in the Triangle and we are incredibly fortunate to have a great entrepreneurial ecosystem. And we're really looking to just leverage it, as Tyler said. And, the Small Business Center is certainly a key partner as well. And, some of what we've talked about is the importance of not just connecting that person to the resource, but following up and assisting them if they need help actually getting connected to them, and not just saying, here, go call or email this group, but really ensuring that we help them get connected to the right resource at the right time, because some folks may not be confident about that or know how to make that connection happen. We might be able to tell them who the resource is, but that's one of the pieces that I think will be critical to the success of the program and the individual, is actually making sure that contact happened.
Mm-hmm. And we were laughing about it the other day, but Tyler, you are going to be the one talking to these folks one-on-one, figuring out what's needed. You are going to indeed be the man. Because I was thinking, is this just going to be a referral thing? We just refer them wherever. But you are actually going to be the one kind of helping them through these processes, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So it kind of goes beyond just a referral. In those beginning stages, it's really one-on-one work, or through workshops if the size is too much for one-on-ones. And then once clients reach a phase where they should meet with a partner, I'm not just sending them an email. I'm making sure that they make that connection and that a meeting happens from it and that they're able to get value from it.
This sounds like it's going to be a wonderful program, and I believe we're calling it Pathways to Entrepreneurship, correct?
Correct.
And so if anyone is listening and they're interested in learning more about it, so where should they look or how can they contact you?
Yeah, so we're working on developing a website specifically for it by the end of 2022. But for right now, you can email me at Tyler.Daniel at waitgov or at waitgov.com.
That's Tyler.Daniel at waitgov.com. Thank you guys so much. I'm excited to see the folks that come through this program, and we can learn about their businesses and what they're doing. It sounds like a really great idea. And thanks so much for talking to me today.
Thanks, Brenda.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. To learn more about Capital Area Workforce Development, visit capitalareancworks.com and be sure to like and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn.